6 a.m. And like we said yesterday, it is the rainy season. But for some reason, we've been blessed with this little break in the rain at this time yesterday and now today and day before yesterday, where it isn't raining at this time, which allows us to go out on our walk. And it might rain later in the day. It certainly rained a few less than an hour ago or so. If you can see the ground, it's nice and wet, but it creates a very nice atmosphere to be walking around in. I always like the weather because, well, one thing I'll tell you about the weather is that it appeals to a part of the human nature in us, right? Some like it, some don't. I personally like it. And the part that appeals to me is the unpredictability of nature in a way, right? So it's sort of like that old thing is like you're a young man or grown man or whatever, woman maybe, looking for adventure. You like that sense of adventure. So always in a really subtle way, rain has provided sort of um, a little bit of that adventure feeling, because, it's beyond your control, right? This is something that's beyond your control, right in your face, right? But there's also that delicate beauty to it, and you have to admire it, or you can do whatever you want, but I have to admire it. You know, it's and in its majestic beauty. Um, and I think that's probably in all of us. I mean, I'm a human being, I hope, and if I'm a human being, that means I'm not the only one who feels that way. So, and I bet you I'm not the only one who feels the same way about that beautiful little bit of light coming up in the horizon right there. That is really something spectacular. And you can only get that after the rain, right? When the precipitation and the rain and the sun combined, this like cosmic energy and chemistry. It only happens, uh, when it rains. It doesn't only happen when it rains, but it's one of the effects. And it's certainly super beautiful and something to be appreciated and cannot be replicated by humans yet. So, if ever. So, that's why I like the rain, because the rain provides a sense of adventure because you can't stop it. It's something that you have no control over, and then also that sense of beauty at the same time. So it's sort of like admiring a great boxer, right? You could admire their skills and everything like that. But at the same time, you're not stupid enough to jump in the ring with them, right? Harry, what's going on, brother? Is this the gooning spot? Well, it could be, I suppose. If you're a gooner and you want to do some gooning, be a goon if you like. I don't know what a goon is, but just do your thing, brother. Nobody gonna stop you from being a goon. I mean, depends on your definition of goon, I suppose. When I was a kid, a goon, right, was somebody who thought they were a thug. So, like, I don't think there's anybody gooning around here right now. Um, but if they want to, they can. Um, but certainly they're not going to goon around with me, most likely. So I guess I don't know. I don't see any goons around. You see any goons around? Hmm. I don't know. That's a tough question. If that's what you mean, I don't know. Definition of gooning could be like totally different because I'm from another generation, and like you really you wouldn't want to go around like saying you're going to goon around or anything like that unless you could really like be a goon. And nobody ever really wanted to be a goon because that's kind of creepy. It's kind of like a somebody who might be a pedophile or something like that, or be like some sort of like flasher, a goon. I don't know, a goon. I don't know. I'm sorry you're into that, but I hope that you. I mean, if that's the definition you mean, I hope that you get the help that you need. To be honest with you, Jesus Christ loves you, must accept you for all your faults in the world, same as they accept everybody else, because we're all part of this natural beauty called Earth and the reality of Earth. And that's some beautiful reality. You see that up there? That's some beautiful reality. I like that. That's beautiful, isn't it? So, anyway, beautiful morning it is on Saturday, September 20th. And but I don't want to get you wrong, because I don't know, this could be a totally like a generational thing. You might be like, it might have a totally different meaning for you. So I mean, I have no idea, to be honest with you. So I don't want to insult you or anything like that. Anyway, I want to enjoy this morning though, because this is the gift from the heavens. Whatever the heavens are, or whatever religion you might be in, this is definitely a gift. And it's just, I'm just lucky enough to be enjoying it. So I hope you enjoy it too. You hear those birds getting ready. Oh, those are frogs, you know, creaking in the back. Hey, all right, brother, take care. Good morning, Lawsy Prince here at 0.053 a.m. Where is 0.053 a.m. at this time? That's 5-hour difference. So I'm going to guess you're in India. Arun Swat, is that right? Lawsy Prince, 5 hours? I mean, you could be like 5 hours. Let's see. North of here, you'd have to be north, right? You'd have to be, no, oh, you're north. Oh, you're north. If it's midnight there, all right, you must be east. You have to be east of me. So you're 5 hours east of me. So anywhere along the longitude, 5 hours east. South Africa. Yeah, okay. See, I got it. I worked it out. Good good morning to you, Lawsy Prince. I hope you're doing well. We're in Thailand, northern Thailand, in the province of Phayao, Thailand, to be more specific. Good morning, Christoph Adren. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing well. Fantastic to join us on this Saturday morning at 5:54 a.m. in the year 2568. Or if you want to use the Western calendar, Gregorian calendar, the year 2025. I don't know what it is on the Muslim calendar, but I would say I think it's around like 16 something or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what it is because I'm not a Muslim. But that doesn't mean I don't respect it. It just means that I don't know. So it is 5:55 a.m. in the morning. So I'm 5 hours. Uh, it would mean I'm 5 hours east of you, west of you. No, I'm 5 hours east of you, and you're 5 hours west of me. That's what I meant to say. I got my east west confused. Yeah, because remember, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. I'm 5 hours east of you. I knew you had to be in like I was gonna say I was like my first guess was India, because I don't know how the time zones really work, but just like trying to put it together on basic logic, I would say that I knew that you had to be at least in India. Yeah, which yeah, I guess I guess that would depend on what part of India, right? But you're in South Africa, so that's even further over. So it kind of surprises me. I guess that's because the way the bending of the latitude, right? The bending of the latitude bends around the corner. Yeah, that's right. That's got to be it, right? I am going to the morning market. So here in Thailand, I don't know other places, but I'm sure it's the same in a lot of different places around the world. There's a market generally at dawn, and people go out and get their supplies for their family. Like generally, like the head of the house, well, not head of, but like generally women will go out and get the food ready for their family, for their children to go to school, and for their husbands and sons to go to work or something like that, you know? So that's what time it is here. It's that time. Go out to the market, check out the food and stuff like that. I don't want to get into the topics that I'm actually kind of chomping at the bit to talk about, which is a little bit later. I think it's kind of funny when I reflect in my life on it. But I'm going to give you a heads up on one of the things I wanted to talk about. One, I want to talk about Jack Dempsey, the boxer. I don't know if anybody are there any boxing fans out there, but I just want to talk about him, so I'll talk about him. Two, I want to talk about game theory and how game theory affects all of us. Stalled plays. What's up, brother or sister? How you doing? We are in northern Thailand, in the province of Piau, and we're walking down the road at 5:57 a.m. and we are on our way to the morning market. So we want to talk about Jack Dempsey. We want to talk about game theory, and then I want to talk about something funny. I want to talk about something funny is that about boyfriends sleeping over at their girlfriends' houses while the father and mother still own the house. I think that is a funny topic because I have 2 cents to put in about that. As a player, a former player, I only slept over at the house of my girlfriend's parents. I think twice, maybe 3 times. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it did happen, but the 2 times that I did that, I had to sleep in a separate room, right? And we were already in our, you know, adulthood, like 18. I mean, like I wouldn't have dreamt of it. Like, I mean, it happens, but like the parents weren't home and stuff like that. But like when you're 16 or 15 and stuff like that, you gotta sneak around. But like you get older and you're in these relationships and you start to think, I'll just I'll just introduce myself to the parents, you know, and I'm gonna sleep over or whatever. That's kind of the way. Actually, is normally the girlfriend is the one who's telling the boyfriend, "Come on, come sleep over. Everything's all right. My parents are cool. Nothing's going. There's no problem or anything like that." And of course, 99.9% of the time, that's the truth. And it should be the truth. But look at that morning. Oh my goodness. You see all of this? That's how many trillions and billions. I mean, it's not even trillions, it's like quadrillions of like neutrons being blasted over the horizon to bring us this day. And that is just absolutely amazing when you think about it. And super happy to be able to be a part of it. And look at those. Look at that. You couldn't paint a prettier picture. Unbelievable. Yeah, and I'll tell you what made me think about this topic about this is that my wife and I, we own the house. We have a daughter, but our daughter's 30 years old, right? And this is the first boyfriend she's ever brought over. And I'm like thinking about, of course, I'm not, I mean, I think of it in the comedic response. She's 30 years old, obviously. It's like, you know, hello. she's 30 years old. She can do whatever she wants. But pretty much. But I was thinking that when I was a kid and like doing that, I'm talking about like, so let's see, the first time I started, we're not talking about sleepovers when you're like 10 or 11, 12. We're talking about like, full boyfriend, girlfriend thing. Um, and I'll go over here and buy some sticky rice. We're in the market now. Oi, Arun Sawat. ก็แค่นี้เหรอครับผมเท่าไหร่ครับเนี่ยเอาประมาณครับผมคุณเล่นนะตกใจเดินประมาณ7 กิโลครับคุณอ่ะแบบนี้เอ้ยอืมคิดคลิปเนี่ยคุยกับผวนครับแบบนี้เราซื้อของอีกอ่าใช่มีมีลูกสาวแฟนลูกสาวแฟนเรียพูดต้องต้องคนต้องกินข้าวผมก็สวัสดีครับพี่สบายดีหรือเปล่า very good thank you thank you อ่าถ้าถ้าอะไรทำอะไรอ่ะนั่นทำอะไรแล้วครับผมลืมอ๋ออเมริกาพี่นี่ what's going on sister ผมโทรศัพท์คุยกับเพื่อนครับโอเคเจ้าอ้าวนกแค่มันใกล้อะวันนี้บ่มีข้าวมันไก่อะอ๋อวันไข่เหรออ๋อโอเคขอบคุณ can't get one of the things we wanted to get อรุณสวัสดิ์คุณตาสบายดีหรือเปล่ายายสบายดีหรือเปล่าพี่สบายดีก็2 ตัว okay we have some fried chicken over here that we're gonna get อ๋อคุณยายครับผมครับอ่าแล้วก็อ๋อใส่กรอก5 อันครับแล้วก็หมูปิ้งเอ่หมดเลยครับผมผิด2 4 6 8 10วันนี้วันเสาร์ไม่ใครข้าวมันไก่เออวันเสาร์อ่าราชิคิวครับผมไปนู่นไฮเวย์เลี้ยวขวาไฮเวย์เลี้ยวขวา7 กิโลไม่ใช่5 กิโลฮัลโหลครับทำที่ผมอยู่บ้านหน้าบ้านพี่นี่นู่นนะพี่นี่นู่นบ้านเราเอ่อไม่รู้ตัวอะไรอะไรมองอะไรเสร็จแล้วอ๋ออันนี้ด้วยโอเค Kapag punta sabay, check, what does they say? Lui lui, leo leo. Hi lui lui. อ่าที่ชนรถแล้วชนรถกี่ครั้งแล้วเออสุขนอนสุขสุขภาพมองแล้วอะไรเขาอายุนอนที่นอนแล้วก็ไม่มีรถสภาพชนประมาณ4 5 6ที่อะแล้วก็เราไม่ให้คนเจ็บเปิดแต่ก็ตามบอดเห็นกับตาใช่ไหมเมื่อไรเข้ามานี่แล้วก็ถ้ารวบชนคนรวบชนรวบชนใช่ไหมเขาขับไม่ดีขับไม่เป็นโอเคครับ Okay, let's see here. Back in the saddle and back up full video. We got provisions all picked out. So provisions is the first accomplishment of the day. So let's get back to the story. What story were we talking about? Oh yeah. So when I had a girlfriend. She was a Catholic, Irish Catholic girl, and I went to her house, and we were like, I was like 22 at the time, and she was 27. She was a little bit older than me. And when we went out to that house, we had to sleep in separate rooms because they're very religious, which was that was all right. I mean, it didn't bother me or anything like that. I actually didn't expect anything less. And then let's see. What other time did I go over the house? I think I went one time, like as like a day trip though. I'm not sure if it was an overnight trip, but that was definitely separate bedroom situation at that time too. And I think I was in like I don't know, 19 or 20, 20 in my that early age, something like that. Definitely around that age. Um, but I had a good time playing gin rummy with her mother. That was actually the only thing I remember about it. Probably the best part of it. So anyway, but then I had another girlfriend, and like I guess we were getting a little more serious. And she invited me to go up to see her parents in another state, like another area. And I was like, oh, okay, great. I'll go and check it out, meet your parents, whatever. And I was like, all right, so I went, and I think actually, to be honest with you, I think the first time I went to her parents' house, though, her parents weren't there. I think I can't. Second time, anyway, the time that I remember, I met her parents, right? And they had this huge house, big house out in the woods and everything like that. And it was like they had like a lower level where like the kids could like reign supreme. They had a pool table down there. They had a jacuzzi, which they had built themselves. And I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing in the world. I was like, oh my God. I mean, like, this is all legit, is what I was thinking, So, yeah, yeah, I was banging the man's daughter. I mean, they didn't care. I mean, as far as I know, they just knew that this was a natural thing, to them. I was like 22, 23. No, I was like 24 at that time. I was 20. I was definitely 24. And to me, it was like there were no weddings or marriages or anything like that involved. And to me, it was a little bit like it was against everything that I had been taught, I guess, as what like correct people do correctly. Now that doesn't mean I thought I did everything correctly in my life. And I certainly did everything incorrectly. So I did everything incorrectly in my life, and I did play um, things that I would never do today. But that being said, at that time, I had been sort of reformed mentally, and I had been thinking about, like, planning my life. So yeah, so I thought that I was like, this is the cool. Then you get like, then like it comes breakfast time. You go up and you like sit down at the table, and like, oh, the whole family sitting down at the table. How was your night last night? And I want to tell her dad. I was like, oh, it was fantastic. That was one of the best nights of my life. I mean, that's what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it. So no, you got to be cool, and respectful and everything like that. And so, and that's what I was, at least I hope I was. And that relationship lasted for, everyone's what? That relationship lasted for about 3 years, and probably most emotionally damaging relationship I've ever been in my life, to be honest with you. It was, lasted from like 1994, October of 1994. I remember because I just gotten out of the Navy, and from 1994, October to about 1999, I guess, late 1999. So that's 2 years only. Wow, it's only 2 years. Wow, it seems like a whole like that lasted. It feels like that lasted a lot longer than that. Oh no, what am I saying? October of '94 to '99 is 5 years, almost 5 years. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not too smart. I can't do a little basic things, uh, arithmetic. So, um, anyway, and then I moved to Thailand after that relationship. And the funny thing is, the whole thing of why I moved to Thailand, one of the reasons I went to Thailand in the first place, was because she had been to Thailand and she had like told me stories and traveled to do Japan and Thailand and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, I'm a traveler. I gotta go. Also, I was like still in love, I was still hurting and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to that place, prove that I can do it, prove, I mean, I did like stupid things like I was anti tattoos. I got like tattoos up and down my left arm, whatever, because I thought that she thought that that would be cool. Like somehow that would like win her back or whatever. And there was no chance of that because all the damage to that relationship had long you know passed down the river a long time, and there was no going back. Unfortunately, I mean, mentally, like you have to be able to let go. I think women are, generally speaking, are a lot easier. Like they can let go a lot easier. Like they got a man who's not performing, not doing the right thing. They can let go of that man, right? Like, that's no problem. But sometimes women, and these are the most real dangerous women. If a woman doesn't want to let go of you, I mean, like she becomes like the one that's like stalking you and stuff like that, and like they're, like planning horrible things and stuff like that. Oh, I don't even need a woman like that. That's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? That's like crazy. But thank goodness I never had that experience. I've known people and I've seen those kind of women. Actually, I did kind of have that experience once. I did have that experience once. I was a bartender, right? And at this restaurant, and I had gone out on this woman like on one date. Like it wasn't even really a date or anything like that. Like we just went out one night and we're hanging out and stuff like that. And I ended up going back to her house. She had her own apartment, and I was the bartender. I was kind of a well-known bartender in that neighborhood, and so she knew where I worked, and so to me it was just nothing more than just like we went out one night, whatever. I don't even think we had sex. Anyway, this is before cell phones and stuff like that. Anyway, so I was like closing up the bar with the manager, right? And I hadn't called this girl. This was, in a couple days or anything like that. I had no intention to really, I mean, basically, it was just we had to have our fun, and that was it. And closing up the bar, it's like late at night, everything's closed, and all of a sudden, I hear this, and that's the sound of like when a bottle, and the mouth of the bottle is spinning through the air, like that. It's a bam, and the bottle crashes on the side of the beside me, like she's like trying to hit me in the head with the bottle, right? And I'm like, why? Why did you do that? You know? And I'm like, I didn't say. I mean, I didn't say that because first of all, I didn't even know who was throwing the bottle at that point. I had no idea what was going on. I mean, it didn't like somebody was like trying to rob the store or a restaurant or what, you know? And yeah, then it was like another bottle after that gets thrown. It was a bang, splatters all over the place, right? And now I see that it's her. And I'm like, wow, that's some crazy shit. And I turned to the manager and I said, listen, man, everything's going to be all right. It's just some crazy bitch shit. Yeah, this is a crazy girl I met the other day or whatever, It's nobody's trying to rob the store or anything like that. I mean, I knew instantly that at that moment that, what this was about. And so, like, apparently she expected a little more of a commitment from me after meeting me for one night briefly, which I mean, I had no idea that's what I wasn't even aware of any interest in that. So anyway, that's just the only time that I was like kind of like stalked or anything like that. But it did happen one time. I can't imagine like so like happening repeatedly to people and stuff like that. I mean, it's like must give you like a really sick stomach feeling in your stomach or something like that, Especially like if you're like weaker, like if you're a woman being stalked by a man. Oh man, I can't imagine. You must. I mean, women must like really, you know, probably have a good reason to be terrified. You know, 100% actually, a good reason. You see it played out all over the world. Especially like I don't even want to get into that. That's just too dark an issue to get into. It's not a good healthy space. I mean, it's something that has to be addressed, but it doesn't have to be addressed right here on this channel on this beautiful morning. I'm gonna say on this beautiful morning. I don't think anybody's here for that. There's plenty of dark content on the internet. That's what you want. So let's bring peace and happiness into the world with this nice morning walk. And give it thanks that we're still healthy enough to be able to walk a little bit. And a lot of people out there who can't walk at all. There are people out there with no legs. You know, I mean, they're happy to be alive. A lot of them, that's for sure. Had conversations with them, asked them questions. You know, so yeah. Anyway, I get over my own disabilities. I was hit by a car and that badly damaged me, where I can really kind of no longer work anymore. So, in a way, อรุณสวัสดิ์ เอากำลังครับ um, but anyway, aside from that, just enjoy the beautiful morning. What else are we going to talk about? Oh, Jack Dempsey. I wanted to talk about Jack Dempsey. Anybody? Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk about Jack Dempsey. 'Cause I don't know if anybody follows boxing, but um, and it's really just sort of more of a questions of intrigue rather than anything else. I mean, it really doesn't mean anything, it really mean anything, so it's not really important at all. So anyway, let's talk about the other topic. Game theory. Game theory is a very popular topic, and it's something that I watch online. Um, I haven't watched it in a long time. Like, so, all right, for point of reference, right? I was experiencing game theory when I was like 14 years old, but not through my parents or anything like that. I was exposed to the concept of game theory, which I had no idea existed around the age of that I was, like, at least consciously known it existed around the age of 14 years old, because I was going over to a friend's house whose father figure was explaining game theory to him. And so, like, for that brief, like, I don't know how long it lasted. It could have been half an hour, could have been 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know. It could have been 5 minutes. But it always stuck with me, the idea of game theory, because I had no idea about it. And I didn't have a father figure or any mentors at that point to really guide me and teach me. So I was always keen to listen when somebody else's father figure was talking to them, to see what they had to say. I had a father who lived in the house, but he was an alcoholic and very abusive. At one time, he was physically abusive, and but later he became just only verbally abusive. And I'll get into why he only became verbally abusive in just a second. But there used to be this thing, right? I used to have all these friends, and like, complain, oh, I don't have a father in my house and stuff like that. And I was like, why are you complaining about that? That's a great thing. You have no idea. I got to go home to that motherfucker every fucking day and listen. I was like, how could you possibly complain about not having a father in your house? Fathers are like, in my opinion, because you only know what you're exposed to. I was like, father's like the worst possible thing you could have in the fucking house. In my opinion, I was like, you're lucky. Why are you complaining to me that I got a father in my house? I got to live with the monster. You know what I mean? And that all culminated. A lot of things happened when I was 14. I guess a lot of things happen to people growing up because they start becoming more conscious and of the things around them at that time. Anyway, so what happened when I was 14 is my father used to like to put his hands on me, right? And so he'd like to hit me, you know, um, with objects and closed fists and stuff like that. And that's easy to hit. It's easy to hit a young boy, right? You're a grown man, right? That's very easy. But I'll never forget this. And people think that I'm crazy. Sometimes I've told this to people, and they're like, that there's something wrong with me." But I don't know. I still don't think there's anything wrong with me. Here's what happened. So I was coming down the stairways, and I was going to go out. And my father really didn't pay that much mind or pay much attention to what I was doing, except when he felt like it. You know, either to say something nasty or otherwise. And so this time he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going out." He goes, "No, you're not." I said, "Yeah, actually, I am going out. Yeah, I've got some friends I'm going to go meet." And he raises his hand like he's going to hit me. He raises up his hand like he's going to hit me. He goes, I see it going back, and I looked at him dead in his eyes, and I said, "Before you hit me right now, you better think about it, because if you hit me right now, tonight when you go to sleep, I'm going to come down and cut your throat." Right? And like his face just went like all the blood went out of his face. Right? He looked at me. He didn't know what to do. That's a very serious threat. You know what I'm saying? I'm 14 years old, a supposedly, unhinged 14 years old person. But I told him, I looked him dead in his eyes. I said, "Listen, if you hit me one more time when you're going to sleep tonight, I'm going to sneak down and cut your throat. He is fucking the face. You should see it. His face just went from like unbelievable. He didn't say a word. He was like frozen, and then he just turned. He didn't. He put his hand down. He didn't hit me, and he walked away. And thank goodness he did walk away, because I don't know at that time if I would have, I might have done it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But thank goodness he didn't. I was 14 years old. When you can't hit a 14-year-old kid, okay? I mean, like, if there's like any hitting to be done, it should have been done properly in raising a child. And he did not raise me properly as a child, right? So you just can't go around smacking around 14-year-old kids and not gonna expect some sort of a crazy reaction. And so that's what my reaction. I don't think it was crazy either, because I wanted to stop. All I wanted was for him to stop hitting me. The hits didn't hurt anymore or anything like that. There was no more emotional thing. It just became, at that moment, it just became an object to me. Like, this is going to stop, and this is my solution. If you don't accept my solution, then I have to do so. I have to act out on it, and that's what I was thinking at the time. But like I said, thank goodness he didn't hit me, and thank goodness he put his arm down. And he didn't talk to me for about a year after that. At least a year, yeah, about a year before he talked to me again. I mean, he still had to go to sleep in the same house as me. He didn't kick me out. I mean, because I was telling that story to somebody at a poker table, and the guy that I was telling it to, he was like, "You said that to your father, man. If I was your father, I would have fucking fucked you up right then and there, beating you into a frothy pulp." I said, and I looked at him. I said, "Well, you might have had your throat slit that night." Scott 74, what's going on, brother? How you doing? It's a beautiful morning here, Saturday morning, 6:28 a.m. and it's a beautiful, beautiful day. So, hope you're doing well, and you're enjoying health and happiness. And that's about as much as wealth you can possibly expect out of this world, because there's no gold, silver, or coins in this planet that are worth your morality and life and stuff like that. That's why I was always like sort of anti-establishment. It's like, you can't trick me with money. That was my mentality. Well, just wait till you're broke on the street and you got no money, no food. You find out what you do for money, or what people will do for money. Do anything for fucking money, you know. But yeah, good health and happiness. And let's hope you just have enough spare change to buy yourself a hot dog or whatever, or an avocado roll, or salad if you're vegetarian, or something like that. Yeah. So we were just talking about my father. Yeah. So anyway, the guy at the poker table tells me, I would have beat the fuck out of you. I would have shown you 6 ways to tarnation, blah blah blah, whatever. And it didn't make any sense to me what he was saying, because, like, who the fuck do you think you are anyway? I mean, were you gonna beat your kids at 14 years old, right? And you think that just beating somebody is gonna make you like teach them something? Like, there's no message or anything like that. All you're doing is being abusive and beating on somebody, right? And you want to show them that you're more powerful, right? But there's always going to be somebody out there, and they don't have to be as big as you or as numerous as you. But if you abuse them, they will find a way, And believe me, this happens all over the world. It happens on a geographical scale so fucking big, like in countries go to war like this shit. Which reminds me of another thing, is that I was thinking about the Ho Chi Minh negotiations, when he went to negotiate with the Nixon administration. I think it was McNamara, you know. And what Ho Chi Minh told him was, he said, "You can't win this war, and you're not going. I mean, strategically, you can't win this war, and I'm just going to let you know why." Sort of talking in a very rational, logistical way. And he said the reason why is You guys get upset when you lose one soldier, but for every soldier you're going to lose, we are willing to lose 100. Now that is a very, I would take that very seriously and think about that, you know, because now you're dealing with a different kind of game theory. But you're dealing with GTA, GTO, right? Grand Theft Auto Game Theory Optimal, right? So Ho Chi Minh was playing GTA. You know, he said, "Fuck this shit." You know, we're not going to like worry about the morals of things. We're not going to worry about life and death of one individual. It doesn't matter. I will lose 10 men or 100 men for every man that you're willing to lose, right? And the Americans weren't very willing to lose. They weren't, they lost. I'm not laughing at the losses of the American. I'm laughing at the paradox or a paradigm in the situation. That's what I'm laughing at. Now, I had uh, family members served in Vietnam, fighting against Vietnamese who died and stuff like that. So I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the paradigm, the paradox. You get yourself into a paradoxical situation where it seems like you don't have any choice. That's the right choice, right? And that's worth laughing at because that's when your balls are really truly in the vice. Is when you got to figure that conundrum out. And anyway, that's sort of what happened in some ways. And the Vietnamese ended up winning the war. We don't have no idea how many Vietnamese died. I don't know, 57,000 or almost 58,000 American soldiers were taken over there and forced to fight against an enemy that they didn't have and kill a lot of people. And it was a terrible thing. And I just am really amazed and happy and pleased to be a part of this world that there's no seemingly no animosity between Vietnamese and Americans. Well, it's hard to. Americans always had that wild card, and the Americans' wild card was, you know, how do you pick which Americans? Do you pick Muhammad Ali? Well, he didn't go into the draft. All right, so all Black Americans they're off the list. We're not going to go retaliate against them. All right, so let's who's next? Asian Americans. Well, fuck yeah, I think we could kill a few Japanese or something like that. Because like I think the Japanese are like working with you know, or who else? Well, we can't go after Chinese Americans because China's got our back in this war. So America had always had like this like cloak of invisibility in a way. Now a lot of countries aren't buying it, and they probably shouldn't, because the function of the big government is the function of the big government. It has nothing to do with race, and so for the most part, so there are always caveats and footnotes you can add in there. But this also would apply to any government at any time throughout history, throughout any place in the world. But that's not really. I'm just giving the credit, as much credit to that as possible, without saying that every government, every time, and every place, and all time of human history, be it if we only have had advanced civilization for 6,000 years, or 300,000 years, or 3 million years. Now, we've always been doing this kind of shit, you know. So that was when got to game theory, because that's what I was thinking about, game theory. You know, so I asked like the computer, like Gemini, about game theory, but I didn't know. See, what happened was this whole train of thought started about 5 days ago when I had a dream. And I was dreaming about basically what's called game theory, or what's called the ultimate game. And the ultimate game, I guess, is something you learn in economics. And I think that nobody should be released from school until they learn at least that it exists. You don't have to learn physics or deep mathematics or social studies or anything like that. If you can understand game theory And like there's some people who are very good at game theory, very successful in life. But game theory is a dangerous thing because you have to recognize what it is. So, so I guess you'd have to. I'm a strong proponent of people having morals and ethics and stuff like that. That was most important to me because I rejected game theory. So I asked anyway. Let's get back to the. Let's not get off on a tangent about this. So I asked Gemini about game theory, right? Because I'm 55 years old, right? Eh, Pinoy, sabay pa. ออกกำลังไปไหนไปตลาดนะ So I was like game theory. Well, I realized that like game theory wasn't really very good for me because I'd come from a broken home. I um, I basically dropped out of school in the fifth grade or something like that. Started hanging around doing stupid shit. And by the time I was introduced to game theory, which was when I was 14, I would have been in like seventh or eighth grade, I think eighth grade when you're 14. Maybe that's the transition between eighth grade and ninth grade, high school. I don't know. Anyway, so when I heard about game theory, I was like, well, automatically I knew, I just like reflected for just like I don't know, and instantly came up with the answer that obviously the game's rigged. And all these years later, 41 years later, I will be happy to announce to you that my 14-year-old senses, with a fifth grade education and coming from a disadvantaged, broken home, my head's fucking twisted in 25 places. I think that I was right. I'm pretty sure the game is fucking rigged, But the reason it's rigged is because you have people who are playing game theory. And if you don't play the game, then you can opt out of playing the game. What are the consequences of opting out of playing the game? The consequences are being lonely. Well, that's one of them. Uh, being poor most of your life, financially. Um, yeah. So if you don't play, basically, you're basically going to say, I'm never going to own a house. I'm never going to own a house. I'm never going to own a car. I'm never going to own anything, whatever. And so like that's like a precondition to being like a monk or something like that, or some sort of like Franciscan friar or a Buddhist monk or whatever shaman or something like that or whatever. Because that was the way I felt. I was like, well, the train for me has already left the station. I see all my best friends are going to like exclusive schools like Stuyvesant High School in New York City. I don't know if people know outside of New York City, but some schools are designed for people who have higher grades and good behavior patterns. And that's that school is the top in New York City for the public school system. Uh, so yeah, so I was like, yeah, all my friends are going to Stuyvesant High School right now, and they were delinquents too. Let me tell you, a room so what? But they managed to keep enough of. I mean, they were so much smarter than me. Like they were able to like keep that facade and do the work, do their homework, and learn and stuff like that. But we were still going to pool halls, getting drunk, getting into fights, um, doing graffiti. Um, some of them were involved in violence and stuff like that, which really perplexes me because I was like someone who's like born. Hold on a second. We got to take a look at this. This is more fun than anything that I have to say. Look at that. That's amazing. If you're a painter, I mean, I just wish I would love to sit here and I mean, I can appreciate it, but maybe I don't have to paint it. I can appreciate it. You look directly at it though, it might burn your unfocus your eyes. It is quite beautiful, man, and that is due east from a different view. I'm super glad you appreciate it too, man. There's no human on the earth, a computer program who can recreate that, right? I mean, as far as I know. Well, yeah. And you see the clouds coming up out of the valley, the mist or whatever you call it, valley. You see it'll be up, and it'll be full day. Oh wow. Anyway, so the kids that I was hanging out with, Stuyvesant, they were doing drugs. They were acting like gangsters. Oh, Arunsuad. They were acting like gangsters, and um, and, basically basically like like it was a rite of passage, I guess. I think that's what I think. That's the way I felt at the time, at least. But the background that I had come from that got me in that position where years later, like this was amazing. 40 years later, or something like that, I saw a post by this the group of people from Stuyvesant that I hung out with, and I happened to be in that group, and they're like, "Whatever happened to that homeless kid that used to hang around?" Hanging around in the Stuyvesant. Remember that white boy that used to hang around? He was homeless. Whatever happened to that guy? I was like, man, I felt sick to my stomach when I heard that because I was like, what the fuck? Like that's how they were viewing me as like some sort of a homeless. And I was homeless to a degree. I mean, I could go home. I just chose not to go home because it was like too much of a nightmare. So I would I always sleep over at other people's houses. Um, I wouldn't go to school. Um, I'd drink. I never liked marijuana for some reason. I just never like. I didn't like the feeling, but I could drink a lot. I used to drink those like Ballantine. I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but Ballantine. And it was like this big uh, called them 40s, right? A 40 ouncer. Ballantine and Old E, Old English 800. And then if you want to get even dirtier, like not dirtier, but like into like the depths of poverty, like sometimes you'd be hanging out in a club, not a club, but in a park, and they used to sell this beer, and the title says it all, called Midnight Dragon. I swear to God, they had the title. Midnight Dragon was the name of this alcohol. Oh my God. They knew exactly what they were fucking doing, these fucking people who were peddling this shit. This poison. The people who are the heads of the CEOs of all these companies knew exactly what they were fucking doing. Obviously, right? I mean, how do you name an alcohol Midnight Dragon? Midnight Dragon, right? When you're too broke. When you're too broke to buy the good stuff, Midnight Dragon's waiting for you. Or there was another one you could drink. Irish Rose. What was it? Wild Eye. It was called Wild. If there's money to be made, they'll push it. That's right. That's for sure. Oh, good morning, Gumaru. How are you today on this beautiful Saturday morning, September 20th? At 6:45 a.m. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. So yeah. So if there's money to be made, right? They'll sell it. I saw a video just yesterday about the perils and danger of the New York City in the 1800s and the gin joints. You can go in and get a free shot. They called it a free shot, 3 cents, excuse me, 3 cent shot. And for 3 cents, you could go in and get yourself a shot, but it wasn't necessarily alcohol. I think it was like a mixture of like some alcohol maybe and some chemicals or something like that. And it would kill you. I mean, it wouldn't kill you right away, but you know, highly addictive and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of stories. This is why you got to stay away from alcohol and other drugs and stimulants in the body. It's because they really take you away from your cognitive abilities to make decisions. Um, and it's just kind of just gross the way people they can sell it. I mean, I guess they could sell it. I guess there are people are out there who could drink like one glass of wine. But the logic in me says is this: why would I want to drink a glass of wine? Because if it's good, wouldn't I want to drink like more than one glass of wine? Like if it's good, it tastes good, and it has a good effect, then clearly I should want more of it, right? Or it's not. It doesn't taste good. And incidentally, I don't think wine tastes that good. I mean, you couldn't pay me $1,000 right now to drink a glass of wine. I don't care. I don't care if the bottle itself cost 100,000. I'm not. I mean, maybe I'd have to drink it for financial reasons and hope that I'll be all right. But you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I mean, it's sort of like, how many times has the trick got to be played on you? How many times do you got to fall for the same old trick before you wake up one day and say, shit's not working anymore? It's not working. And I don't necessarily want to go out like this. Now, I don't bemoan an alcoholic or anything like that, so long as they stick to themselves. If you want to be an alcoholic, whatever, but just don't get any cars, you drive and run anybody over. That's cool. Don't go beat anybody up because you're a psychotic alcoholic. Don't, well, okay, if that's your choice, fine. Go ahead, man. Sit there, laugh at the wall, laugh at shit, laugh with a buddy or whatever. It's not my business. But that's the thing is about alcoholism is that you could be doing all of that. And this has happened to me in real life because I used to drink a lot. I'd be sitting there minding my own business, and then the wife will come home. And the wife will come over. And she's like, "Oh, you're drinking." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm drinking. I'm sitting here by myself, not minding my own business." "Oh no, this is a big problem." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's a problem? I'm sitting here. I'm not bothering anybody. All the bills are paid, everything." And, and then a fight break out. Like, I got a problem. Well, the problem didn't exist until your sober ass came here in the first place. But it took me a long time to realize, take a long time to realize that that no, the alcohol was a problem, and that she didn't want to come home to see somebody, shit faced drunk, drooling out of their fucking mouth, looking at the TV screen or a monitor or whatever, and say, "What the fuck am I married to? Some sort of zombie or something like that?" Like, we have work to do. Let's go do the gardening, right? Because when you're drinking, you're not going to be doing any gardening, and gardening is a privilege. The fact that you can garden, if you can, like if you could like just take care of these leaves and stuff like that, whatever it is, that's really a privilege in a way, especially if you're doing it. I mean, it's not a privilege if like you're forced to do it because of the financial reasons necessarily. But if like you're doing it on your own and you're not getting paid for it, it's a privilege. You know, it really is, and it's something I hope for, to be able to enjoy that privilege of just doing just enough gardening that makes me happy or that I can physically do. Or, feed a tortoise. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but we have a tortoise. My wife has a tortoise, I should say, because she got it, and that's like, I don't really involve myself too much with the tortoise because I don't want to be the one cleaning up after it, taking care of it. Even though tortoises are fairly low maintenance, um, but for my wife to take care of the tortoise is nothing. The reason why is she takes care of 18 cats and 3 dogs. So if she can handle 18 cats, 3 dogs, a husband, and a daughter, a tortoise is just light work for her. Oh, you've seen him. Yeah, he's big. He weighs a lot too, man. He's got to be like over 50 kilo. He's got to be around there. I have put on the videos though that he weighed like 100 kilo, but that was, I don't know, a little disingenuous, I guess. It felt like 100 kilo. I could just blame my math skills. I'm sorry, I didn't graduate fifth grade. I can't. I couldn't figure that one out. You know what I mean? But it's great to see you, Scott74, Gumairu. Great to see you. Great to see everybody in the chat this morning. We're run out of time once again, as it is 65th minute of our walk, and we are almost home. So wherever you are in the world, I just wish you a happy good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night, and that you have all the happiness and health, happiness, and a little bit of wealth. And I guess you'll be all right. Take a look at that as a parting gift. We take a look at the blue horizon. Can you imagine being able to fly through that? Wow. One day we all will fly through it on our ascension into the cosmos and great beyond. Goodbye.